All right, everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Today, we're looking at what it really takes to make it in tech.
Sounds intriguing.
And spoiler alert, it's not just about being a coding superstar.
Oh, really? Tell me more.
Well, we're digging into this Algo Academy blog post called Why Coding Alone Isn't Enough to Succeed in Tech.
I actually saw that one. So pretty insightful.
Definitely. So let's jump right in.
Okay.
It starts by saying, obviously, coding is super important. Like, you can't build software or websites without those skills.
Right. It's like the foundation of everything in tech.
Exactly. But the article argues that if you want to build something truly impressive, you need more than just that foundation.
Makes sense. So what else is there?
Well, problem solving is a big one.
Problem solving, I mean, isn't that kind of baked into coding anyway?
Yeah, but it's more than just, like, fixing bugs. It's about tackling those really complex problems, the ones that make you feel like a detective piecing together clues.
Okay. I'm starting to see the bigger picture here. So it's not just about writing code. It's about thinking strategically about how to use code to solve tricky problems.
Exactly. And that brings us to another point the article makes. The whole myth of the lone wolf programmer.
Oh, yeah. The lone genius coding away in a dark room.
Yeah, it's totally a myth. The reality is, tech is all about teamwork.
It's true. You're always working with designers, product managers, other developers. It's constant collaboration.
And that means you need to be able to communicate your ideas clearly.
Definitely. And not just with other techies. You have to explain technical stuff to people who don't speak code.
Ugh, tell me about it. I once tried to explain a database issue to someone in marketing, and I swear their eyes glazed over.
We've all been there. But the point is, those communication skills are essential in a team environment.
For sure. And speaking of essential skills, the article talks a lot about the importance of adaptability.
Yeah, that's a big one, especially with how quickly things change in the tech world.
Right. It's not enough to master the technologies of today. You've got to be constantly learning and evolving.
Exactly. Remember when everyone was freaking out about the shift from REST APIs to GraphQL?
Oh, yeah.
The developers who embraced that change were the ones who stayed ahead of the curve.
So it's almost like building a tech skill tree, right?
That's a good analogy.
You've got your core coding skills as the trunk, but then you branch out into all these other areas. Communication, collaboration, adaptability, always adding new skills to your repertoire.
I like that. Constantly leveling up. But, there's one area the article mentions that I think a lot of tech folks overlook.
What's that?
Business acumen.
Wait, are you saying coders need to think like MBAs now?
No, not exactly. But it is important to understand how your work fits into the larger business context.
So like revenue models, market trends, that kind of thing.
Yeah. It's about seeing the bigger picture. Understanding how your code contributes to the company's goals.
It's almost like you need to be a coder and a product manager at the same time.
In a way, yes. And that's where product thinking comes in. It's about understanding user needs, thinking about how your code will actually be used in the real world.
Okay, I'm starting to see the connection. So it's not just about writing code that works. It's about writing code that matters.
Absolutely. It's about making a difference. And speaking of making a difference, there's one more skill the article highlights that might surprise you.
Oh, I'm intrigued.
Emotional intelligence, or EQ.
EQ.
Yeah.
Really? I always thought of tech as like all logic and algorithms.
Me too.
Yeah.
But think about it. You're constantly working in teams, dealing with deadlines, navigating complex projects.
Right.
All of that requires a high level of emotional intelligence. Being able to understand and manage your own emotions, empathize with others, build strong relationships.
You know what? You're right. I never really thought about it that way, but EQ is definitely important in tech, just like in any other field.
It's the secret sauce that helps you actually put all those other skills into practice.
Wow. I'm seeing tech in a whole new light now.
Me too. It's so much more than just coding.
Well, this has been mind-blowing already, and we're just getting started.
Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll dive deeper into some strategies for actually developing these essential skills.
Yeah.
It's amazing, isn't it, how all these skills we've been talking about, they all kind of connect.
Yeah, for sure. It's not like you can just check them off a list and call it a day.
Right. They work together.
Huh.
Like, take communication and problem solving. They're basically two sides of the same coin.
Totally. You can come up with the most brilliant solution, but if you can't explain it to anyone...
It's useless. Like having a superpower you can't use.
Exactly. And then when you add EQ to the mix...
EQ really is the key, isn't it?
It's like it gives you the emotional intelligence to use those other skills effectively.
Exactly. And it helps you navigate all the challenges that come with working on a team.
Definitely. Which brings us back to adaptability. That's a skill that seems more and more crucial in tech these days.
Oh, absolutely. Especially with how fast things are changing.
Right. It's not just about keeping up with the latest JavaScript framework or whatever. It's about having a mindset that embraces change.
A growth mindset,
Yeah.
seeing new technologies as opportunities rather than threats.
It's like almost being a tech chameleon, blending in and thriving no matter what the environment throws at you.
That's a great way to put it. And part of that is being comfortable with not knowing everything.
Yeah, being okay with uncertainty.
Exactly. And being willing to learn. Continuous learning is huge in this field.
It really is. It's not just about taking courses or reading blogs. It's about being curious, always asking why.
Right. Wanting to understand the how and the why behind everything and, not being afraid to admit when you don't know something.
That's so important. Humility goes a long way.
Absolutely. Because in tech, the moment you think you've arrived, you're already falling behind.
That's a great point. And it kind of ties into something the article talks about, viewing failure as a learning opportunity.
Oh, that's a big one.
It's easy to get discouraged when things don't go as planned.
Especially in tech. This is a tough field.
But the best tech professionals, they don't let those setbacks define them.
They see them as opportunities to learn and grow.
So it's about resilience.
Resilience, yes, but also having that growth mindset, that belief that you can always improve no matter where you are in your career.
I love that. It's a good reminder that success isn't just about raw talent, it's about hard work and dedication too.
Exactly. And a willingness to keep pushing yourself.
Hmm.
And, to embrace those aha moments along the way.
Oh, those aha moments are the best.
Right. Those breakthroughs when everything suddenly clicks into place.
It's like solving a puzzle or cracking a code.
Exactly. And they can come from anywhere. A challenging project, a conversation with a colleague, even a frustrating bug that you finally figure out.
So it's about being open to those moments.
Open to learning, to trying new things, even if it means failing sometimes.
Because those failures often lead to even bigger breakthroughs down the road.
Exactly. They make you a more well-rounded tech professional.
So we've talked about the importance of all these skills, but I think a lot of people listening might be wondering how to actually, develop them.
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It's one thing to say communication is important, but how do you actually become a better communicator?
Right. It takes effort
Hmm.
and intention. The article has some good tips, though, like setting clear goals, making a learning plan.
So it's not just about hoping these skills will magically appear. You have to actually work at it.
Exactly. Treat these skills like any other skill you want to develop. Figure out which ones are most important for your career goals, and then make a plan to improve.
Okay, that makes sense. So that could involve taking online courses, reading books, attending industry events.
Yep, all of that. And also practicing those skills in your everyday work.
No, that's a good point. So if you want to get better at communication, volunteer to present at a team meeting or something.
Exactly. Or write up some documentation explaining a complex topic.
I like that. And what about mentorship? The article mentions that too.
Mentorship is huge. It's a great way to refine your communication skills, learn from someone more experienced, and it also helps you develop leadership skills.
It's a win-win. You learn and you get to give back to the community.
Right. It's incredibly rewarding for both the mentor and the mentee.
Okay, so we've talked about communication, problem solving, mentorship. What about networking?
Oh, networking is essential.
I know, but those conferences and meetups can be so intimidating.
I hear you. But the key is to be proactive. Don't just stand around waiting for someone to talk to you. Go up to people, introduce yourself, ask questions.
Be the one to break the ice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then make sure you follow up afterwards. Don't just collect business cards and forget about them.
Right. Connect on LinkedIn, send a quick email, try to stay in touch.
Yep. Building relationships takes effort, but it's so worth it. And don't underestimate online communities either.
Oh, yeah. Those are great, too. Forums, Slack groups, Twitter.
It's like having a global network of tech experts at your fingertips. You can ask questions, share knowledge, learn from others' experiences.
And speaking of learning from experiences, what about side projects?
Ah, side projects. The best way to experiment and learn new technologies.
And they're a great way to develop those essential skills we keep talking about.
Totally. Problem solving, project management, even communication if you're collaborating with others.
And they look great on your resume, too.
Oh, definitely. Side projects show initiative, passion, a willingness to learn, all things that employers love to see.
It's like a secret weapon for your job search. And who knows, maybe your side project will turn into your next big thing.
Stranger things have happened.
That's the beauty of tech. Anything is possible.
It really is. And the more you invest in developing these essential skills, the more opportunities will open up for you.
So we've covered a lot of ground here, from communication and problem solving to EQ and networking.
And everything in between. It's remarkable how much more there is to success in tech than just coding.
It's about the whole package, the technical skills and the human skills.
Right. It's about being a well-rounded tech professional.
And we've got one more part coming up where we'll dive even deeper into some specific strategies for putting all these skills into practice. All right, welcome back. We've been talking about all these essential skills that can really make a difference in your tech career.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground. But now, the big question is, how do we actually develop these skills?
Right, like it's one thing to say communication is important, but it's another to actually become a great communicator.
Absolutely. So, let's get practical. The article mentions a few strategies that I found really helpful.
Okay, like what?
Well, one technique is the ELI5 method.
ELI5, what's that?
Explain it. Like I'm 5.
Oh, like explain it to a 5-year-old.
Exactly. It forces you to break down complex ideas into simple terms that anyone can understand.
I like that. It's a good way to make sure you really understand something yourself. If you can explain it simply, that means you've got a good grasp on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it helps you get better at communicating with non-technical folks.
Which is essential in the tech world.
Absolutely. Another tip from the article is to write clear and concise documentation.
Documentation. Ugh, that's always the part I dread.
I know, it can be a bit tedious, but it's a super valuable skill.
In what way?
Well, when you write good documentation, it forces you to think through your code more carefully. You have to anticipate potential issues, answer common questions.
So it's not just about helping other people understand your code. It actually helps you become a better coder yourself.
Exactly. It's like teaching is the best way to learn. And speaking of teaching, the article also mentions mentorship as a great way to develop these skills.
Mentorship is awesome.
It is. It's a great way to refine your communication skills, to practice explaining things clearly, and it also helps you develop leadership qualities.
Plus, it's a great way to give back to the tech community.
For sure. Helping others is always rewarding.
Okay, so we've talked about communication, documentation, mentorship. What about networking?
Networking. The dreaded word.
I know, right? Those conferences and meetups can be so overwhelming.
Yeah, but they're also incredibly valuable.
Any advice for making the most of those opportunities?
Well, first of all, don't be afraid to approach people. Introduce yourself, ask questions, be genuinely interested in what they're doing.
Don't just stand in the corner hoping someone will talk to you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Be proactive. And make sure to follow up afterwards. Connect on LinkedIn, send a quick email, keep the conversation going.
Right, because it's all about building relationships.
Yep. And don't forget about online communities.
Oh, yeah, those are great for networking, too.
Forums, Slack groups, even Twitter. It's amazing how many connections you can make online these days.
It's like having a global network of tech experts at your fingertips.
Exactly. Okay, last but not least, let's talk about side projects.
Side projects are the best.
They are. They're a great way to experiment, to learn new technologies, to build something just for the fun of it.
And they're a fantastic way to develop those essential skills we've been talking about.
Totally. Problem solving, project management, communication, if you're collaborating with others.
And they're a great way to boost your resume.
Oh, definitely. Employers love to see side projects. They show initiative, passion, a willingness to go above and beyond.
Plus, you never know. Your side project might just turn into the next big thing.
You never know. That's the beauty of tech. So to wrap things up, we've talked about a lot of different skills today. Communication, problem solving, adaptability, emotional intelligence, business acumen, the list goes on. But the key takeaway here is that coding alone is not enough to succeed in tech.
You need that whole package of skills, technical skills and human skills.
Exactly. And the good news is, all of these skills can be developed with effort and intention.
It's a journey. So to our listeners out there, I challenge you to take one small step today towards developing one of these essential skills.
Maybe it's signing up for an online course, reaching out to a potential mentor, or starting a new side project.
Whatever it is, just take that first step.
And remember, even small actions done consistently can lead to big results over time.
So keep learning, keep growing, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible in tech.
And until next time, happy coding.